3, 4.
Instant karma is the result of all of our actions. Every action that we make has a consequence. What we put out to others comes back to us, and this is called the ripple effect. We stand for a positive reflection of self and others. We give respect, we honor traditions and cultures, and we share that knowledge. What we as humanity do as one is up to us, and it's time to make that choice. In an era where truth is buried like a lost treasure and history is being rewritten, we believe now is that time to correct this. See, truth is like the sun, and eventually that light comes out. And here on Instant Karma, we feel it is our purpose that we all shine on together as one. Thank you for joining Instant Karma Show. I'm your host, Valerie Clark. Today's guest is Anthony Deaver. How do you kill a zombie with a peach pit? What is the weight of a bushel of clouds? How much popcorn should you pop if you're popping your own popcorn? These are the things that occupy Anthony's mind in order to retain his sanity, or embrace his madness depending on your point of view. He puts pen to paper, or fingers to keys in his case, and shares the insanity with the world. Anthony lives just outside of Boston, Massachusetts with his wife and various animals, where he tends his garden and tries to conquer the world with a roll of duct tape, a plastic airplane, and a squirrel hopped on Smarties. Rumor has it, he's teaching the squirrel to fly combat missions. So far, he's been unsuccessful. And for that, we are grateful. Thank you for joining me on Instant Karma Show, Anthony.
I can't get through it either. Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
These really cross your mind, Anthony. You sit and you think about these things every day.
Oh, absolutely. The Peach Pit thing is an actual story starter that I did a few years ago for Zombie Hunter.
Wow. I think this is brilliant. I think these are amazing things. I think they're very important things in life to think about. So in your Chronicle serials, which features 6 overall books, what inspired you to write the first one called The Ball of Fate?
Well, essentially, Chronicles have been in one form or another circling around in my head forever, feels like. It started life as a comic in high school. It evolved into an audio drama as the internet became popular. Further evolved into, I tried to do a live-action web series. But unfortunately, I was never able to quite execute on all of those for one reason or another. Usually revolving around money in some form. So one day last year, I finally sat down and rewrote everything from scratch in normal fiction prose. And essentially, it's just my insanity on paper. I launched it on my writing site, and eventually I got the attention of Curiosity Quills, who picked it up, and they're now doing it weekly. The first season is done with the intent that it's going to be put together in a book and published. It's always meant to be a serial, so that'll be interesting. At its core, it's Harley, which is a dog, based on one of my dogs, the center of a philosophy, and it's all about the fulfillment of that philosophy. But like every philosophy, it's never built quite the same way that people expect it to be. So the first book is basically the setup for everything, and the second book builds, which is being called The Oncoming Bark, is the adventures of Harley trying to find a resolution to the events of this first book. And then each subsequent book basically builds on the previous ones until you get to the 6th, which ultimately ends up fulfilling the prophecy.
Garden Wars. How exactly did this start out?
An offhand, off-the-cuff comment from someone on Google Plus named Bliss Morgan. She made a comment one day that she had an image in her head of wizards all dressed in yellow, standing in the breeze, yelling, "Forsythia!" And I don't know if you know, but that's a plant that's in New England. It's very well known up here. And the image just stuck in my head. I could not get it out. So when I got home that night, I wrote a little quick flash fiction, which is around 1,000 words, and pushed it out. That's how it started.
Let's talk a little bit more about Garden Wars, the pruning.
The pruning is based off that image that I had in my head. It's the wizards. I added in the army. I added in this whole backstory, mythology. I planted my tongue firmly in my cheek and went at it.
The fun guy.
Fun guy was never actually supposed to happen. It got into my head because I came across a video game called Rise of the Fun Guy and thought that would be a great title for a sequel, and wrote it.
Hope's Frost.
So Hope's Frost is a bunch of people got to me and said that they really wanted me to finish the story, keep going. So I sat down and I actually came out with a real storyline for the entire series. And Hope's Frost is the transition story between the first two flash pieces and the actual storyline. This puts it, it makes the transition between the two, yes. There are many more, but they aren't out yet.
So you've recently designed an amazing project for people. It's called Author Boost. What is it? What are you doing? And how can people become involved in this project? So
in its simplest form, Author Boost is an effort to help an author get their book ready for publication. I'm doing that by putting up $1,000 of my own money to pay for editing, artwork, and possibly marketing advice for their book. As to why I'm doing it, I'm simply in a position that I can. Everyone has a story to tell, or two. Not everyone has the wherewithal to be able to do that. Be it financially, or they just don't have contacts, or whatever the case, they don't have the ability to pay for that editing.
Or maybe they don't have the inspiration, or they don't have the motivation, and this gives people motivation. Hey, look, you know what? I can do this, and this gives me a deadline that I have to do this. I think this is a great thing, Anthony, and it's just so generous of you to do this for someone. And on your site, I really appreciate the wording that you put on there. It was just so nice. You know, I don't expect to thank you. I mean, I personally thank you for doing this for people.
Yeah, I'm not looking for attribution. I'm not doing it for fame. I'm not doing it for fortune. I'm doing it because I can.
So what future projects can we look forward to seeing from you, Anthony?
Aside from all the others, I have several episodes of Garden Wars that are currently in the process of being edited professionally. So the story is going to get richer and more involved and more visual. In addition to that, I've got there's beginning pieces of a story that I'm calling Professor Steam and His Amazing Machine. And there is a superhero type serial that I started about a year ago that I let die that I'm going to try and bring back. Great. Because apparently I don't have enough to do.
So Anthony, where can people learn more about you?
AuthorBoost.com, obviously. ProjectMagnus.org is my main writing site. I'm on Google+, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and the ever-popular and rarely updated AnthonyDeaver.com. CuriosityQuills.com as well.
Thank you so much, Anthony. I have greatly enjoyed you being here on Instant Karma Show with me, and I look forward to all of your upcoming projects.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
That was guest Anthony Deaver. Make sure you check out his sites and read his great work. Thank you for listening to the Instant Karma Show. This is Valerie Clark, wishing you light and love.